I was so concerned.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. I'm really excited because this is a part 3, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing of our particular topic today, rules for being human. So I'm Jamel Matias. My brand is Believe in the Unseen. I'm a certified Bob Proctor coach, also known as a mindset success coach. And it's all about believing in yourself and believing in that dream or that wish. And I help you achieve whatever result that you desire. And my purpose is to reveal the potential that's already there within you and help guide you to your truest desires. So I'm in the Maryland area, in DMV, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. And I'll pass it to my amazing colleague, Alicia.
Hello, my name is Alicia here from Sweden. I am also certified Bob Proctor facilitator, and I'm also certified coach and values coach. My purpose in life here is to help people to increase their awareness so that they can create a life that feels good on the inside and that are aligned with their values. Lou.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're catching us from. Thank you for joining us today. So my name is Lou Perica, and I too am a success mindset coach. And what I do is I coach growth-minded women who just want more in life, but without the guilt and without the hustle and grind. And I help them align with their true potential and create the life that they truly desire, one filled with meaning and impact and income. So basically, we just show people how to get what they want.
Well said, Lou.
Yeah.
Well said. I love that. And I did we all do a lot of live streams and posts and stuff. Before we get into it, make sure you interact and engage with us, right? Feel free to drop a comment, drop a question. We always love to hear from you. And that's why we're here, to help you with this beautiful material, but also to share our insights, our value through experiences in life. This is not just information, right? This is something that you attracted, but utilize it. Use that. Help us help you, basically, and help you get whatever you desire. And if you don't know what you desire, we help you with that too. Get clarity of where you're headed in life. So speaking of headed in life, if you missed the last 2 episodes of this part 3 of Rules for Being Human, make sure you go on our social media. I believe we're on multiple platforms: Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Just look back the last 2 Sundays, and we went in very, very good depth, right, ladies, of this particular powerful article. And it's only but so long, but we managed to give so much, almost 3 hours, more than that, of value of breaking each thing down. Before we even show the article, anything that comes to mind that you want to share that we've spoken about about this article? Anything?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
So this article, though it's short, there's so much depth into these rules. And I think we shared this last week that, or at least Paul and I. Oh, by the way, Paul's not able to join us today. He's at a dive competition. So we are wishing Paul and his team the very, very best. But Paul and I had talked about that. We've read this article many times, but we never really studied it. And I remember hearing as I was growing up that life just doesn't come with directions. But what if it did? What if these rules are the directions? And when you start to really study these rules, don't just listen to them briefly and go on about your day. Really take the time to look over each rule and see how it affects your life or how it can help you change or improve the quality of your life. So, what I've been noticing, because of these rules, but again, we've been studying them for quite some time, but because of these rules, I have learned to just lighten up, to really understand that there is a process and there's a purpose to everything. Whether it's I fall down, there's a purpose to that. When I get back up, there's a purpose to that. When I have like really tough challenges, there's a purpose to that. When I have big wins, there's a purpose to all of this. And I realize that these are truly, truly just experiences, and they're my experiences. Everyone has their own experience in their own lane. So, because of that, I've just learned to appreciate and love life so much more. And I keep my nose out of other people's business. I don't give as many opinions on what you should do or judgment as I used to do.
Well, when I thought about this, uh, how we deep go inside, I thought about Bob Proctor, our mentor, because he was studying the same thing over and over and over again. And I came this, when I was studying there, my mind was like, but you have already read that. Why should I do should I do that again? And this is the thing, is that the repetition of the, and to repeat and to learn, not only to read, just to understand. And this is what we have done here, to go deep and to understand what that means. And looking from when we discuss here, we are discussing from our perspective, and
Mhm.
because we are so different individuals, so we are different perspective. And this is what, when the conversation is so enriching my perspective and the other's perspective, because we are taking perspective from everybody here. So I love that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well said. I love this. The energy is different on Coach's Corner. So make sure
Yeah.
you come here every Sunday. But, when you both mentioned something, repetition is the key to learning. And so many things come to mind. I remember Bob sharing, is that book in you or is it on the shelf? And that was so impactful for me because we're programmed and conditioned to read a book, finish it, and put it down or put it back on the shelf and go to the next book. I read all these books and you feel validated, right? But
Mm.
did your results change? By their fruit, you shall know them. So if you're not getting the results and you feel stuck, you know what that is superior knowledge and inferior results. So you're not applying it, what you're learning. You're just gathering information in your conscious mind. Yeah, there you go, buddy. In your conscious mind, right? But you're not putting it here in your subconscious, which shapes basically your behavior. And your behavior creates, is the habits, and habits create your future, basically. People form habits and habits form futures. I always love that. That's Earl Nightingale. So if you don't deliberately create good habits, you unconsciously create bad habits.
Mhm.
And that is so related to today's topic about rules for being human, because we talked in depth about lessons, about judgment, right? I'm glad you brought that up, Lou, because we judge, even unknowingly sometimes. It could be a paradigm, right? Where we're judging another person, or we're in someone else's business. It's always, you mind your own business, right? Mind your own business. That way you can basically create whatever you want, you know? And with this repetition, another quote comes to mind is when you reread the same thing, you know, you know where I'm going with this.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that it wasn't there. It was something in you that you didn't see before. So all of us I know are growing since the last time we read this. Right?
Absolutely.
And when you
Absolutely.
read it, you're like, holy crap, there's so much here now. Right? And that's the beauty of learning more about yourself. That's the beauty of developing yourself. And when you start seeing things like that, you're on the right track. And
Mm.
we're here to help guide you with this awesome material. So, are we ready for like just a quick little rundown of what we
Sure.
shared? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's share our screen. And this article, you know, is part of our mentorship and leadership program. You know, this is information, just a small piece of what we do to help individuals. And this is rules for being human. So, like we mentioned on part 1 and 2, the following is written by an unknown author. However, it contains some timeless jewels of information that are worth passing on. So it's titled Rules for Being Human. So we talked about the body, how you receive the body. You know, we talked a lot about how you will learn lessons. Some of us learn them. If not, they're repeated, right? We talked about there are no mistakes, only
Mm.
lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error. That was a huge one. A lesson is repeated until learned, you know? And then we also talked about learning lessons does not end. Basically, personal development and mastery is endless, you know? But there's always, once you get to this point, you can always go higher, basically. There is no better place than here. When you're there has become here, you will simply obtain another there. So that's basically growth, right? And others may, oh, this was a big one. We talked for a while about this one.
Yes.
Others are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects to you something you love or hate about yourself. That was huge. Make sure you watch the previous episode because we talked a lot about that. And Lou, you're right. So it looks like we are here with until the end here. Um, so what number is that? I believe 8, I believe.
Number 8. Sure.
Yeah. So let's dive in here. Lou, would you want to do the honors of reading this here and
Absolutely. I'm going to just, I have the printout in front of me.
okay.
What you make of life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need, and what you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours. I want to share something I just got into, and it's fabulous. It's called The Politician. It's on Netflix. And it's about this young boy who's very, very ambitious. He wants to be president, and he's currently in high school. And all kinds of things come up, and he's always concerned how this will reflect back. You know, once he gets to start to go for the presidency, people are going to be pulling out all his skeletons and whatnot. Well, some stuff happens, and he just gives up his dream. And as I'm watching this, I'm noticing because this man, this young man, is telling himself a story. Did those things happen? Absolutely. They're facts. They happened. That's it. But I've really come to understand it's our stories and our meanings that we give everything in our life. And depending, so as I'm watching this young man in this TV show, he's dwelling on the past. He's dwelling on the past mistakes he's made, all the skeletons that he doesn't have a chance. And as I'm watching it, because it's much easier to watch someone else's life more so than your own. So as I was watching it, you can hear the beliefs that he's created. And those beliefs, those stories, those meanings have vibrations. Think
Mm.
about that. They have vibrations. So if you picked, I was going to make a post of just putting maybe random pictures, whatever, and ask each person, when you look at this picture, what story or what meaning or what belief does this picture trigger in you? And I'm sure if everyone were to do it together, we would all realize we all have different meanings and beliefs and opinions about certain things. But those are the vibrations that we carry throughout throughout our whole day, which creates our life. So, this is why studying you, studying the rules of being human, studying personal growth, we're actually shifting those unconscious vibrations and we're learning about ourselves. We're loving ourselves more. We're loving life more. We're loving the possibility of achieving some goal that we didn't even think we could achieve. This all shifts our vibration. It raises the vibration. And therefore, when we raise our vibration, we are now attracting different people, different resources, different opportunities and events. This is what personal growth is all about. It's really shifting the vibration, but those vibrations come, the beliefs, your self image, your stories, your meanings, they all have vibrations. But if we're most likely we're not thinking about them every day, we're just going about doing our business. But there's that hum, which is your natural rhythm. Hum. Sometimes we get like super excited and that hum goes, then we get really down and go, But what is that most consistent vibration that we're carrying around? This is what our goal is to help you shift that vibration into a higher level. And this is what personal growth is about. A little lengthy.
No, we can speak freely here. That's good. Yeah. Alicia?
Now, I was thinking, what you make of life is up to you. And we all have 24 hours every day, you know, and what you do with that
Mm,
is, but if you are not aware of who you are, what are your, I have always my here, what is the frame of your life, how you see life, is that way or that way, it's easy that you get lost.
mhm,
And before I say that, okay, life is like you are climbing a mountain, and then when you are in the top, then you say, oh my gosh, this is not the mountain I wanted to climb. But you need to start. It's why I'm so passionate at helping people be more aware, self-aware, because if you know yourself, if you know what are your values, if you know, if you are more aware about your fears and everything there, so it's more much easier to to go after what you want. And I don't know if do you know, I don't know if in USA or you have the Lego creator. You know what is the Lego creator?
Lego creator?
Lego creator? Yeah.
Like the toys? Lego?
Yeah. Yeah. So Lego creator,
Yeah.
the whole Lego is 3 in 1, you know? So you get 3 different, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I've seen them.
how what you do. And then you get the the parts. Yeah.
mhm.
And depending on what you want to create, the 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 things are different. You know, these instructions are different. They are the same
Mm.
parts. They are the same part,
Yeah.
but you can create 3 different. But you need to follow 3 different. You know.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
So I use that to show that okay, life gives you all the resources, everything. You need to know which of the instructions you want to use. But in order to do that, you need to understand yourself and what is that motivate you. because maybe you love this, but somebody say, look, I'm saying, ah, but Alicia, this is so beautiful. You should go and create this. And and then I start creating this with this manual. And what happened is that I get frustrated. And this is what happened in life, that if we are not self-aware, if we're not working on ourselves, the risk is that somebody else come with an instruction and we are creating something that is not good for us.
I love those. I love those
Yay.
props. That was great.
Round of applause.
This
That
is,
was,
I have this Lego creator, like 12 years, just to
Oh,
demonstrate to
wow.
my sons, because when he was a young, he's 15 now. I said, I want to play with us. No, no, no.
No.
My working, you know.
yeah, I love it, Alicia. That
So,
was,
so, so just to show you that you need to decide yourself which instruction, and it's what, when you are working with yourself, is, yeah.
I
That's
love it. I love it. That was amazing. And hello to Donna. Yeah, thanks for support and
Hi,
Thank
Donna.
you, Dana.
congratulations on your growth as well. Good to see you. Alicia, that was so powerful. Both of you, listen to that name, Lego Creator,
Yeah.
right? And Bob says a lot, and I truly believe this. We are creative beings, right? Remember, all the animals out there are completely at home in their environment.
Mm.
And look at us. We look very different physically, right? We're all made of the same stuff. But as human beings, we're totally outside of our environment. Why? Because we can create our own environment. We're creators. And it even says there in the article, the first sentence, what you make of life is up to you.
Yeah.
Make is the creation part. That's why it's very important to really understand who you are, because you can continuously create what you don't want. We'll take Alicia as example. You have all those pieces and
Yeah.
you start making the weirdest thing that has no purpose for you, right? You can make this thing that just looks crazy and you have no idea what it is. And you did that unconsciously. So imagine going through life, not knowing yourself, creating things you don't want over and over and over until, you transition into spirit or whatever, right? So that was so powerful. And that reminds me of Steve Bo's quote. God has given us more talent and ability than we can ever use in this lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much as that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. That's what we're doing here. That's our purpose, to develop all these gifts that we've been given that were free. We didn't have to pay for them, right? We
Mhm.
didn't have to take out a loan or get an advance, or it's been gifted to us. And some of us go through life not even knowing what we have.
Mm.
That's why this is so important, to watch these calls, to learn about yourself, but take action. Get outside your comfort zone, because that's where the true growth is. For you to learn, how can I create what I want? What do we have? Goal cards, right? What do we understand? The mind, right? We know, we're learning repetition, the power of repetition. This is so exciting for me. And almost every Coach's Corner call, I have to turn the heat down because I start sweating and I get excited talking about it, because I know who I am, right? We know who we are, but some people don't know who we are. But we're telling
Mm.
you, you're very special and you have more talent and ability than we even consciously know. So look at that quote here. I'll share the screen here again so you can
I'm
just.
impressed that you could you memorize that, because Bob always tells us, take that and memorize it. I've never memorized it.
Well, take Bob's advice, Lou. And thank you. Thank you. And Bob's laughing there. So what you make in life is up to you, right? So this is where you take ownership. You have to take ownership for your life. Take responsibility. We talked about responsibility. We talked about decision. We talked about persistence. Go back and look at the other coaches' corners if you missed those. So you have all the tools and resources you need. A lot of us think we need something outside ourselves, right? How many of us thought that? I'll be honest. I thought I needed something outside myself to be
New
better.
system, new strategies.
Right.
Yeah.
we have everything. And that comes with knowing, right? Over time.
Mhm.
And what you do with them is up to you. So you can do nothing. Just do nothing with all the gifts you've been given. Do you think you'll have the life you want if you don't utilize the gifts you've been given? And then it even says here, the choice is yours.
Mm.
Mm.
Are you going to choose to set up a call with one of us today? Are you going to choose to utilize this material and adapt it to your life and create what you want? This is a choice. If this speaks to you, are you going to put a comment and say, wow, I like when Elisa had the Lego creators? Take the action. I know we're entertaining, but this is your life and your future. It really is. You cannot create what you want. That's up to you. But it doesn't make logical sense to do that, right? Why create what you don't want?
Yeah. One of
Sorry.
the things, you triggered a thought. You mentioned something, Jamel, about most people don't even realize their own power. So your power is being aware, like Alicia says, of your power. But most people go to their grave never knowing. When I heard that, that really hit home because I am so grateful. Maybe I learned the lessons or became aware of the lessons later in life, but I'm so grateful that I did. I'm so grateful if I were to transition tomorrow, and make it tomorrow because I have an appointment today. No, just joking. But if I were to transition, I know now why I came here, why I came to experience life. I understand now all the, you know, I don't want to call them mistakes, but just to make it easier, the mistakes, the wins, the losses, the challenges, the struggles, the opportunities, the wins, all of it, the deliciousness of life. And I think back about my ancestors or, mother, father, whomever that have left this life and they never knew. They always thought that life was a struggle and you had to work really hard. They didn't know about the tools that we all have: our imagination, our intuition, our perspective, our memory, our will, and our reasoning ability, the ability to think, and how to take those gifts and actually shape the direction of how we're thinking to create the life that we truly want. So I'm so grateful that you mentioned that, Jamel, because again, most people will go to their grave never understanding their powers.
Mm.
And then what happens is when they come back, they'll repeat it because the whole journey is about self enlightenment. And that's one of the lessons we'll get into. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Jamel.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I remember I was in a training with Les Brown many years ago in Las Vegas, and he was telling them, "Do you know where is more talent, abilities, knowledge, skills?" And somebody went, "No, it's in the what is
Graveyard.
graveyard
Graveyard.
because people go with all these dreams, you know, and they could use all these talents and ability. And he say, do you imagine you are there in the bed,
Mm.
dying, and all your skills, ability, uh, resources, everything, they are around your bed, and you are dying, and they are saying to you, because of you we could not live, we because of you we could not create something big. And then, I was like, oh
Mm.
my.
Yeah, now we must die with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my wife, if that I want to use my knowledge, my skills, my abilities to create something good.
Mm.
I want to, when I die, I don't want they to be there and say, why you didn't let us die. I was
Mm.
a thank you, because we bu- we were part of your life.
Mm.
That is that I have that. But I believe that one of the ultimate game that we are playing in this life is to use all these talents, abilities, to create personal freedom.
Mhm, mhm,
And personal freedom, I mean, like, freedom to have the good relationships, freedom to create something in life that help other people, freedom to be good parents, to have financial freedom, all this personal freedom.
mhm.
But we need to understand ourselves. What is my personal freedom? What is this
Yeah.
for me? Which instruction is mine?
Mhm,
And really go for it. You know, I believe that we are born like lions and lioness,
mhm.
but we are acting like kitty cats, you know. So, and yeah, letting our skills and talents is like, you don't know, I don't want you to be with me. So I think that is, yeah, it's why I remember all the time. For me, it's like, how can I use my talents, my ability, to help myself and to help others? Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love that. I love that, Alicia. Do you happen to have a lion and a lioness prop over there?
She
Yeah.
probably has the
I,
real
I,
stuff.
I
I
was talking about a real one. It was a joke. Oh, you really do? That's funny.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I
wow.
have I have a lot. I go to these places. I don't know if you have in USA, but you can buy the secondhand
Yeah,
things.
Yeah,
flea
yeah,
markets and
yeah.
And I go around
Goodwill.
and say,
Mm.
"What is they to me?"
That's
That
funny. Oh, that's
That's
is,
funny.
good. I love that. Yeah,
guys,
intuition.
I put in my in my repertoire.
I
I
love that.
I have a
You're
lot of things.
you're
And,
repurposing. Just think about it. Those things were just sitting on the shelf, What is
right.
this
Yeah,
little stuffed it, right? And you
Yeah,
yeah,
repurposed it. It's
yeah, yes.
incredible.
that is
Yeah,
beautiful.
Jonas, I always have props.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
good for
beautiful. And
you.
that brings up something too. Somebody cash app Alicia some a tip or something for all these props. But that reminds me, like, you're tapping into what we share here. You're utilizing it, right? So you're
Mhm,
using your intuition
Yeah,
with props
yeah,
where you can demonstrate, express what has been impressed. So you're
yeah.
utilizing, actually, all that is imagination,
Mm.
right? It's connected to
Yeah,
mhm,
imagination, perception, intuition. That was a prime example of learning about yourself.
yeah,
And
yeah. Because I'm a very visual person, and I want to express my visual things. So I have more. Uh, yeah, yeah. For me, it's work. It works a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And you're expressing the lioness within. That's
Yeah.
what you're doing, you know? And when you mention that, it reminds me of how growth is basically the opposite of courage is cowardice.
Yeah.
So fear,
Conformity.
conformity, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Lou. Yeah, it's conformity. The opposite of courage is conformity. So conformity essentially you are basically allowing fear to hold you back from your highest version, right? You're following the follower
Mm.
instead of leading yourself. So what we're talking about, the choice, you choose to change, right? You choose to take whatever action. You choose to use your imagination of where you want to go. So if you allow fear to hold you back day after day after day, this goes back to the Les Brown story that Alicia shared. It reminds me of something he shared. He said, live full and die empty.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
living full to me is breaking through all that conformity. Like you're breaking through all those layers of fear, even in your own mind, thinking that, that can't be for me. Oh, I'm scared to even dream of that. Let me just go back to my comfort zone and go to my day-to-day thing that I'm so used to doing. If you're not creating, which we are meant to do, you are disintegrating.
Yeah.
That's really, it's sad, but we have to be very blunt, because how long are you going to stay where you are? It could be forever, right? That's why you have to choose. And you're not happy where you are, you
Hmm.
know? It's very, very powerful when you look at your life. You're like, wow, I can do so much more. I always wanted that thing. I always wanted to be that, achieve that. But nothing changes if you just keep thinking about it and wishing and hoping for it. So I don't know how I got on that. Oh, that's about the lion within. That's the lion within, right? So, you definitely the opposite. Yeah, Kurd. Yeah, yeah. You get the idea. So, do you want to move on to the next one, or anyone had
Sure.
something
I,
Sure.
I,
else?
I want to something about fear, and because Donna was talking about how you break through fear, and fear is something that we are given to avoid physical harm, but we have made it an emotional, uh, barrier, an emotional protection. You know, the ego, to protect egos, the emotion of the ego, and fear is a bad management of mind, because we are creating something that is not there. So fear is given to us for protect our body, so we don't can harm us. We have make it an emotional protection for ego. So sometimes it's like because we create this fear ourselves, because we use the imagination in a bad way. We imagine something, or something will happen to me if I contact this person will say no to me, and then I will be harmed emotionally. But is we need to master our fear, because we cannot. Before I thought, oh, you need to be uh, friends with your fear, but the problem is that it's like telling me that I need to be friend with a tiger, and behave is like the tiger is a kitty cat. No, because if I'm not in aware, the tiger will eat me. And this is the same with fear. You cannot you cannot be friend with that, you need to manage that, because otherwise it will eat you. Yeah, it is. And the things with the fear is that the ultimate thing is that we cannot handle what happened. If somebody say no to me, then I am afraid that I cannot handle that emotionally. Or if, for example, if somebody wants to do a diet, and the fear of, okay, if I do this diet or I lose weight, maybe I cannot eat the things that I like. So the fear of losing something is keeping us, you know, prison of the fear.
Yeah. And also think about it. It was used as a teaching tactic when we were young.
Yeah, yeah,
If you don't clean your room, I'm going to tell your father when he gets home, or something similar to that.
yeah.
So we were conditioned to be fearful. If we don't do something, something else will happen. So that's just another, like, where it comes from. But if you look out your window and you look out at nature, are the trees going to attack me? Are the birds? It's really people that create fear, and it simply comes from ignorance, not knowing and not understanding. And I think we're going to do a call on that, right?
Yeah.
The sequence from ignorance and the sequence from knowledge and understanding, and how that trickles down. So we won't get into it now, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for
But
that.
that's for ladies.
Exactly. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We're going to go really in depth about that. Donna, that's such a great question. And thanks for asking that,
Mm, Donna?
because, for those that are hopping on live now, Donna asked, how do you break through fear? And we're mentioning basically on the opposite side of fear is what you're seeking, right? So whatever you desire, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want, you have to break through a layer of fear. And what that does, it allows you to get to the higher version of yourself. Right. And, fear is basically the acronym, right? F, false events appearing real. So it appears real to you because of your perception. Right. But it's also connected to what we call as a paradigm as well, the way you've been thinking. So remember, faith and fear both require you to believe in something unseen. So you're kind of making it up in your own head. I talked to, a client, and, she was shy to be on camera, had to make sure everything's perfect or whatever. And it was only in her head how she saw herself. So she's like, what if these people look at me in this way? And I was like, I would have never thought about that about you. I didn't even know you say that word with that S sound. Like, she was so, into every nuanced thing about herself. And that's the self-image. That's also connected to fear and the paradigm as well. But remember, it's what you choose. Are you choosing to feed the wolf of faith or fear every day? And we have every day to make that choice, and feeding the wolf of faith basically gets stronger. Faith is knowing yourself, knowing that everything is working for you, not to you, knowing that you can step outside and whatever, right? Knowing that faith is there for you, always there, working for you. So the two total opposite. I can't wait till we do that call because it is so important. And constantly getting through fear. Fear should be a compass. Whatever you're afraid to do it, right? All you're doing is shedding that old onion layer of your old self. And when you do something you're afraid to do, I feel good. I did it.
Mm.
I remember Bob sharing that story. when he was going to the maximum security prison
Oh.
teaching in Canada somewhere. And the guy, that big muscle guy, and Bob basically got tired of him disrupting his class, and he stood up to him. He's probably 2 or 3 times bigger than Bob or stronger. And he says, you probably have to be one of the stupidest people I ever met. You have to go back into prison and see only 11 hours a day, or whatever, 11 hours. And I get to go home, drive home in my nice car and, whatever. Right. And Bob confronted fear. He went straight at it. And then when he went home, and obviously things shifted, the guy was very attentive. He was paying attention. And Bob felt good after facing this guy, physically imposing. I remember I've been bullied most of my life because I was a small little kid. I had to face a lot of fear, a lot, to be where I'm at. And, it's so required for growth. And now studying this, I'm able to see things in a whole different way, and we're also blessed to kind of, see this. But anybody want to add to that, or you want to move to the next one?
Why don't we get to number 9 and 10?
Yeah,
So
but I want just to for Donna about the fear is that when I work with the values, we see 3 different, because I talk about that fear has nothing to do with the physical fear, but it's more emotional. And if we look at fear in the ego's needs, the first need is to have money to eat and the health. So this is the first, the security to continue to live. The second level is about relationship. Do I feel love there? And the third level is, am I good enough? So do I have enough? Do I, what is, am I loved enough, and I'm good enough? If these 3 different things are not satisfied, the fear will come.
And they can only come from you.
It comes from you
because if you depend on somebody else or something else and they leave or they insult.
But this is if they are not satisfied, if you don't feel like you have money enough to pay your bills, or your health is
so that's security.
That's security. And then if you don't feel like you belong in some community that is love you because you are you, and if you don't feel like you are good enough, those is the ego's needs. And
but that's the ego's needs, right? Spirit already knows I'm loved.
The ego has not the ego has need. The spirit or your souls have only desires. So there you don't have any fear. So Donna, if your ego's needs are not satisfied, you will get fear. Yeah, now we can go. to tell.
We have 12 minutes to wrap up the.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, because we have talked about the answer is inside you. The next.
Yeah. There's only 2 things learned in fear. It's it's basically loud noises and the fear of falling. Everything else is learned.
Yep.
So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Because we can do a whole episode on fear, right? So that's a really good question.
Sure.
Let's share. It's a great question though. Yeah, because that's a lot of people, that let fear stop them. So
yeah.
All right. So here we go. We're closing the rules of being human. This is the last one here. The answers lie inside of you. And all you need to do is look, listen, and trust. Wow. Maybe you want me to start that one off, or
Sure, sure,
anybody?
sure.
Okay. Um, this goes with the Steve Bow quote, right? The answers lie inside you. And when I read that, what I get from this is basically your subconscious, which is also known as the universal intelligence when you connect to spirit or God, meaning you have everything you always needed. You have everything, all the tools you ever needed to achieve whatever you want. The answers lie inside you right now. You just haven't connected with them, right? You just haven't kind of really dove to understand who you are and know what those answers are to whatever opportunities that you're basically not taking advantage of. And all you need to do is look. What are you doing right now? You're looking at us, provide value about your life and who you are. You need to look within as well. That's why, my brand is believe in the unseen. The unseen is within. So I see, looking is basically learning about yourself, the laws of our being. Material like this is so important because these are laws that been here well before us. They'll be here well after us, and listen. What is listen? That's your intuition, which is the mental faculty, right? That is the listening what intuition tells you. Notice we all have stories. Alicia has a way of props. Lou has her way as well. I have my way as well. So, and Paul has his way as well. We all are very unique. So we are allowing spirit to flow to and through us to express with words, right? So we're listening. I'm always open to intuition. Last episode, I said, does anybody have a joke? Remember that? So I'm always like open, like spirit, tell me something. I'm hearing you, and this is very important because with this intuition, you can change everything on the outside and trust. We just talked about faith and fear. Where's trust come from? Faith, knowing. How do you gain trust? Knowing, knowledge. You either, and this is going back to either ignorant, which is not knowing who you are, or you go to knowledge, knowing who you are, what you can do, and where you're going.
Mhm.
So, it's really important to understand. That's what I get from that in 4 minutes. So anybody want to share?
I wanted to, Bob mentions in one of the videos or through our trainings, he says, Solomon said, of all you're getting, get understanding. Why do we hear, know thyself? To thine own self be true. We hear all of these things because it's knowing and understanding yourself. When you think about a baby who enters the world, they're full of curiosity and risk, and they just want to learn and grow. Why? How does that baby who's so full of curiosity and will just go, how do they become so restricted and confined and full of fear and self doubt and limiting beliefs? Because we didn't come into the world that way. We didn't come into the world that way. So, this is part of our journey. This is part of our journey is to ask questions to ourselves. Ask, why does when so and so does that, why does that annoy me so much? Why do I get aggravated? Why do I care what they're doing? I think I've discovered to ask myself these questions like, why does that bug me? Or why is that my business? Or, right? So, but all the tools are really inside of us. And when I always joke around, you can't buy these things on Amazon, at least not yet, right? But confidence, curiosity, the ability to make choices and decisions, commitment, discipline, persistence. the ability to have faith over fear, the ability to study yourself and get understanding, to lean in, knowing that you are the highest form of creation. You really have to believe that you are the highest form of creation. And everything that we need has been installed in us, so to speak. We have it within us. But this is part of our journey. This is part of the falling down and getting up, falling down and getting up. Many people have turning points where their life has just hit rock bottom. What a blessing. That is such a blessing because it's a turning point. But you have the choice and the ability to make it a turning point and make something better of your life, or just continue to spiral downward. It's totally up to you. There's 8 billion people in the world, right? And everyone gets the ability to choose and decide. And Jamel, you mentioned about we're either creating or disintegrating because it's a law. It's a universal law. The law of life is always to move forward. If you're stagnant, you're not growing. And I know this sounds cold, but as far as life is concerned, this you're not necessary anymore because you're not creating, and you will slowly start disintegrating. Any form of life, if they're not reproducing, if they're not recreating, if they're not moving forward, they will slowly die off. It's a law. It's not because I said so. I want you around forever. I want me around forever. But it's a law. Life will continue to always move forward. This is why when people pass, when they transition, life still has to move forward. The whole world can't stop. It must keep moving forward. And all those tools, your, your creative workshop, we mentioned your intuition, your imagination, your memory, will, da 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 da. Those are your tools in your creative workshop to take this power that flows to and through you, this power of thought energy that just is, that you get to shape it and form it with these tools. So these have already been gifted to everyone. But if you don't know about it, you're relying on technology, you're relying on strategies, you're relying on systems, you're relying on someone to make you happy. You're relying on things that are outside of yourself. These other things that are outside can support you, but it must come from within first.
Yeah, and the answer lie inside you. I, as I told before, I love the we all are supermen, superwomen, and we need to, or don't, we don't need anything. You know what? We don't need anything. You can lie in your bed there and don't eat, don't go to the toilet, don't go. You don't need anything. It only, you get only consequences of your how your actions. But if you want to discover this hero, superhero within you, then you need to understand yourself and to know what is your kryptonite that make you not be that superwoman or superman that is inside you. So this is the only way to do that. Why I do that? Why I'm not working, doing my best? What is the kryptonite that is stopping me from doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is inside you. Yeah, this is what I want.
I'm getting a cape. That's it. I'm getting that I have to order on Amazon.
This is so good. This is so good. Such a powerful episode. And we shared so many powerful words here and expressed what's already within.
Mhm.
And this same experience or same tools you have as well. For all those that are viewing or watch this replay, you have the same gifts as we do. We all do. We just managed to break through our fear to be here on this camera, to be in this position to help other people with something very special. And it is an inside job, inside out. So if you don't even think about where you're headed or what you want, or have clarity on where you're going in your life, what do you think happens on the outside? The outside is just a reflection of this mind of yours, right? Are you putting that dream here? Are you putting that desire here? Are you getting emotionally involved with it? If you have all these goals and all these things bounce around in your conscious mind, the outside will just be activity. You got to have direction to know where you're going. And you got to really get emotionally involved with that goal as if you're already there. Remember with the Legos, right? I don't have the Legos prop here, but what are you creating? You have all these pieces, all these pieces. You can create whatever you want or create nothing. A lot of people don't see the value. Well, I wouldn't say that. This is to wake you up to see the value in mentorship, in material like this. This is so important. And for those that feel like they accomplish so much, and I have a good job and I'm making pretty good money, and I got food in the fridge, and I can pay my bills. I got a nice car, a nice house. But there's still something in you that says, I desire this thing outside of it. There's something in you that feels unfulfilled. You have to be very open and honest with yourself and look within. And what do I really want to create in this life, to leave a big impact for others, for your family, or whatever it is that you desire? And when you look within and be honest with yourself, you'll see that you can always grow. You can always do more, be more, have more. And that's the prison, right? You can't escape a prison if you don't know that you're in one.
Mhm.
So if you're very comfortable and you haven't changed your income year after year, or you haven't achieved certain things that you always wanted to do, but you allow circumstances to dictate where you go in life, which most do,
Mhm.
you're not growing. So just wanted to kind of share that, since this has been such a powerful call. There's a huge comment here. I love it though. Thanks.
Imagine being a lion.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, my key takeaway is 2 cent growth, both personal as well as professional. Yeah, transformation is a must to live with full power of self-expression and freedom of choice. It's always and possible while being who I am.
Mm.
And the creating present, yes, without carrying baggage and impact of past anxiety or fear of future distinction. Being lion or lioness is awesome and very inspiring. Yes, yes, love it. Thanks for sharing.
Mm.
Very important. And we have Donna here. Love today's awesome. Oh, and it's obvious how much you care and want to help people live the life they deserve to live. Yeah, thank you, Donna, so much. That means a lot. I wish we could help every person that sees this, but we know that personal growth is a choice, right? People don't resist change; they resist being changed. So you have to choose. You have to set up a call with us. We want to talk to you today. I have time today. Our call link is in the description of all these platforms. Reach
mhm.
out to us, message us. Why wait? Why wait to create the future you want and get the direction that you need, that you desire? Right? Why wait? Set up a call with Alicia, set up a call with Lou or myself. Contact us today. If not today, tomorrow. But the time, it's funny, that comment said present. The present, like, what do you do now? Right? Your energy is different because we put so much expression into you. You want to act right now. Why wait? Let's get you that dream. Let's get you the money that you want. Only you are stopping your progress. This is not for us to feel good. It feels great when we talk about this, right? But this is for us to get you what you want and help you see that potential that's just waiting to be tapped into, just waiting for you to make a decision, just to set up a call to see if this is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Yeah.
Jamel, makes me, I just thinking this is, I don't know, week 17, 18, something like that. But our very first call was about goals. And it really, truly does start with, what do you want?
Mm.
Because it's like hopping in your car and not having direction. Like, where are you going? Like, as Bob says, I'm going left. Well, you can, or going west. Well, you can keep going west and keep going. And when you get there, you can still keep going. So it all comes to the first thing you have to really decide is, what do you want? What do you truly, truly want? Because the answer is, the direction is in that answer, the direction that your life will take, the direction of new thoughts, new ideas, new experiences come from that desire, what it is you truly, truly want. And life will drop breadcrumbs along the way. You're not going to know how, because you've never done it before. The fun is finding out how, right? As positive, that's where the fun is. That's where the adventure of life is. So you need to really do some introspection, some self reflection. What is it that I truly, truly desire? Make sure your goal is an emotional goal, not a logical goal. Because if it's in your head, it's something that you could probably do if you work harder, make more phone calls, do X, Y, and Z. It's the emotional goal that says, let's go, let's do this, grow, right? That's something you've never done before, is pulling out another version of you. There's so many different layers to who we are, but they're laying dormant. And that's what going into the unknown does. It pulls out that version of you that you didn't even know existed. And many of us have never taken the time to even explore, what is it that I truly do want? That's why we're here to help you.
Yes.
Yes. Alicia?
No, it's what Lou say. Decide which manual do you want to, so you don't get frustrated. It need to be that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Great call.
Great call. This replay will be posted if you missed the live, and make sure you watch the other 2 episodes the previous 2 weeks, because that way you'll have everything in sequence and nothing out of context. But every call is unique in its way, and you'll find something extremely valuable here. It's so important to, days and days go by, but if you're not changing, you'll just get the same results if you don't do something different. It's so simple, but yet when it's so simple, we kind of discredit it.
Simple,
We
but
look
not
forward.
always easy, right?
Well, easy is perception, right? We look forward to speaking with you. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you next Sunday.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Bye,
We're very
everybody.
grateful.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Margaret.
Thank you.
Thank you.